around. Like I said, we normally, you know how it always goes. If you're a regular, welcome. Thank you for being here. If you don't mind, hit the like button. It always wakes up the algo, brings minded people into the chat. We always like that kind of stuff. Also, you should subscribe. Don't forget to subscribe. Sometimes make sure you check to make sure you're still subscribed too, because sometimes YouTube likes to kick things off. With the lives, we always, you're more welcome to ask questions, garage door, business, life, all that good stuff, anything under the sun, basically. We just ask that you keep it clean. Always the moderators or myself will whack ya. So we're going to crack this thing open. I think if I remember right, I should have made a report on it. This had an RPM sensor issue, if I remember right. Now, it'd be great if I can make it, mess up. Now, I think I did forget my photos, but I got some here. Yeah, it looks like I got a wall button. I got one on a stick. I normally bring one on a stick. So let's get her cracked open a little bit, shall we? All right. These were some great. This one's an 05. If anybody knows the models, I always mess up the models. It's a 65 or 85, 65. They were great openers. Great. I love. This was the it says a 2265R. This is a 2265R. These were just great. These were great openers. Just hardly ever had problems with them. So, probably should see if I can get to run and mess up. I think it's an RPM sensor. I don't think I brought my stick. I'll check the comments out as we go here. Oh, found one side. Where's the other side? Oh. And I believe this still has the dry contacts. So you can just touch the wires and away you go. Genie, we got a safety sensor right there. Brand new in the newer style. Do the newer style work on these guys? Or will it freak out? I guess it's time to learn, huh? Guess we'll find out, shall we? I feel like LiftMaster is actually kind of duping us a little bit. They're trying to get some of the stuff. So, you have to, this photo eye won't work with this. So you got to do this and you got to do that. I just don't like seeing where the industry's going, honestly. Cousin Evan was talking about, he had a, how the heck am I going to make those seeds? I can make it. He had an opener that was messed up. And I see if you guys are cruising through, if you guys don't mind, hit the like button while you're here. I got to just tap. It doesn't cost you nothing. I don't track you. The Gov, they won't follow you either. Don't worry. It's not one of those deals. We're going to do red to white. And this thing's got the beautiful little push buttons on it, but it's not taking it. So my wires are probably just a touch too short. Is it going to bite? Come on. And if you come through, like I said, let me know where you're from, all that good stuff. How things have been going. Things have been going good. All that wonderful. Let's make sure too. Oh, we're on Wi-Fi. We gotta make sure we're on Wi-Fi. All that good stuff. Let me know what's going on out there in the world. What'd you think about Mr. T fired that one person, huh? It lit up. Let's throw a couple light bulbs just for. You guys have to let me know too what you guys use. I just use these generic from Lowe's. They seem to work. I don't have too many problems with them. Joe, perfect candidate to be here. What do you know today? Have you been working? Got anything lined up? What'd you think about Joe? Joe, remind me, you're asking about the building, right? I can go pretty depth about that kind of stuff. Like I said, I try not to go too long on it, but everybody's situation. Can't get the stinking light bulb out. Everybody's situation is different, right? Ooh, this one got a little toasty at one time. You can see that was a very common problem with these. That works. They see each other, they light up. They do light up. Now they see each other. There's that. Now we got to see if these. I don't think I got any. Might have a little tape somewhere. Didn't bring the old wad of tape like I normally do. Just need a chunk of wire. I know there's a chunk around here somewhere. Come out, wherever you are. I do believe, I'm positive, back in 2005. Now, if anybody knows, they used to call them, I always call them like dry contacts. I don't know if they're called like dry contacts or wet contacts. I don't really know the exact verbiage, but I just know that a certain year that LiftMaster went to where you have to, you got to have that circuit board on there, which is kind of a bummer. You can't just use like a doorbell like you used to be able to, like on this one. This one you can just touch the wires together and rock and roll. What's Joe got here? Joe's got the party going. See, we got 5 too. Thank you for hitting the like button. Just set of scaffolds and planks to finish my garage. Ooh, siding goes up 20 feet high. Dang, Joe, did you ever hear? My buddy was telling me. Now I think it can go a little longer, right? But he was telling me about plastic siding. He told me, he goes, he was like, I thought he said 15 to 20 years for plastic siding. And I was just like, he's like, plastic siding has, and I'm like, I don't know if it gets brittle, if it gets kind of warped, just fades, you know, especially, I know that I think there's money you can spend. I haven't done a lot of research, but I've had some houses with metal, and I'm like, yeah, you know what? I'm just going to leave the ones with metal alone. You know, I mean, even if they got to get repainted, that's probably better. That, like that aluminum, whatever it is, that's probably still better than nothing. Because if they go plastic, I really don't want to, you know, those things I don't like to have to redo it again. But I guess everything doesn't last forever. I think there was a guy that bought the old scissor lift here. He was building the place, so he wasn't. I don't think he was doing siding. He couldn't do off road with it. This might fire up, so don't be scared. I will be, but this thing goes boing. Let's see if I can get it to mess up. I'm pretty sure. I don't know if it's just going to be a replace. Oh no, wires came off. It's going to be a replace the RPM sensor, but it was definitely. It seemed like the symptoms with an RPM sensor. It sounded like it was metal or arcing, but I don't know why it's being such a booger. Okay, photo eyes are definitely kind of seeing each other. That's down, so it should come up. All right, smooth. Smooth operation. Building. What are we building right now? We're just working on an opener that had some issues. If you ever thought about getting into like the garage door business or any kind of trades, but this is an older opener that got taken out of the field, and I don't know. I have a soft spot for this. These were my babies back in the day. These LiftMaster, man. I installed a lot of these with very, I don't even remember any callbacks except for the gears. The plastic gears would go bad. But I tell you what, like 9 times out of 10, I would talk to a customer out in the field, and I knew the gear, either this top sprocket will go junk, or the plastic gear inside, which we're probably going to crack it open. We're going to probably crack it open, so you might want to stick around. But anywho, I would just do a gear kit on it, right? I don't think I got one sitting here right now. But, all right, there's one right down here. Right here. You always carried one of these OEM right here kits. Right there. That plastic gear is known for wear. You got to always lube it. That's always a big thing. And I would just replace that, lube it, drop a new sprocket, everything in. Pop, boom, the whole assembly. You're good to go. You know, whatever it was, 145 bucks, you know. Boom. These things will just run. I tell the customer, I always, you know, the big thing was remotes. I always say, do you still have remotes? And they say, yeah, we got remotes. And has it been working fine? Yeah, it's been working fine. It's been working great. Just that. Yeah, hey, let's just swap out the gear. Let's have a nice day. And so that's all we do. They work. They just were. And like I said, look at the dry. I got just 2 wires I'm touching. I'm gonna make it go down. It might freak out because it's, like I said, that RPM sensor screws them up. But, and of course, you know, it ain't gonna do it right now for me, right? But it would. It had a glitch, so we ended up just replacing it at the time. I feel like it was on the. That was the problem on the down. All right. Well, I'm gonna still crack it, I think. Just take a look at the RPM sensor. Maybe it's got a little bit of cobwebs. Maybe just need to replace it. Hopefully, one of the seasoned vets comes on and says, "Oh, I know these very well, Dave, and you definitely need to just change the RPM sensor and have a good day." Oh, we don't need to take that out. Let's see if we can get this cover off because I don't really want to break the covers. Pop out for me. Come on out. That a good opener. Otherwise, what have you guys been up to? Anybody do garage doors? It's on here right now? You guys do garage doors? I'm assuming Joe's got a. What's going on here? Obviously, if you're doing the doors or doing the siding and all that, you're going to be doing garage doors. Kind of how tall? How tall garage doors? How tall? What kind of openers? Thinking about using. Telling you, I'm a fanboy of those genies. I wish I had the clip that of course that cousin Evan sent me today because I think it was messing up on the trolley where the little plastic tab is. It was making the chain. I told myself, you got to be careful. I said, because when these things start getting age on them, you tighten that chain up, especially being a really long. It'll pop these sprockets. You'll lose the chain, and it don't even happen right away. It'll be like 2 days later. But you always gotta, anytime I tighten these chains on these old girls, boy, I always check that top sprocket. If you see dust around it, basically like looks like soot. Oh, not good. Oh, making your own car? Nice. Let's see. I've been kind of thinking about making my own car. I'm trying to make something that seemed impossible, like making VR a car charging out world's design to your choice of them. Interesting. I don't think I know what's the VR. I don't know what VR really means. It's like old times, pull the light bulb out. It's just easier to get to the screws. Let's see here. Gonna make plans from security on to make sure it's misused in case. Make it a real thing. VR is virtual reality. Okay. Oh man. Is this more like a, I'm just curious, is this more like a video? More like a video game type stuff? Just curious. Come on out. Yeah, come on. There's always a little magnetism to them. I need those magnets. I don't keep them in my bag. Keep them at the shop. From Rich B. God darn. Being a little stinker. Come out wherever you are. There we go. Luckily, we don't have a drain underneath of us. It's behind, but at least we don't have one right below us, because it seems like those screws always find the drain. What you got there, Joe? What you got? To replace a broken torsion spring with a side mount opener. What's it say? Like opener, like chamber on wall mount unit. Does side opener need to be removed out of torsion bar? Change the springs. That's a good question. I don't think you have to. Like, let me pull this thing off for a second here. How can I do this? So basically, this is a little different setup here. We got outside hookups, right? But if you imagine there's an opener on there and it's hooked up, that's all it up there, right? That's not moving. What I would probably do, well, this one's not a good example because we got a wall right here. But I would just dump everything out. Like, I'd probably take the end bearing plate off and I would just slide everything out this way if it was me. And those openers aren't really, typically got one spot that they pin, and then they got one coupler up there. So they're really not too bad if you do have to kind of move them out of the way. Nobody left you enough wiggle room. But like I said, otherwise you just normally just kind of slide all off the other end. That's kind of how you do it. It's not too bad. It's not too bad. When it comes to garage doors, the more you do it, the better you get. It's just, you really just gotta get it's kind of like working on a car. You know how it is. You start getting in one thing, and one thing leads to another. Make your way through it. It's kind of, but yeah, everything you can just either dump it off. If it's more commercial, it's got a split adjustable center coupler. More commercial, I don't know if they put it on that, honestly. Then you can split the center and dump them out that way. Like the Windows background image. Oh, changer. Okay. That's not a stupid question, man. Like I said, I really like those kind of questions. You know what I mean? So, because you just don't know. You just don't know unless you've done it. You know what I mean? There's just so many little secrets to all this stuff. I mean, I don't want to say they're secrets. It's just, years of experience. I mean, kind of like an embarrassing story, right? Like, I started out like this. When I started out, my business partner, he always did all the wiring, right? He did all the wiring. I was more mechanical, right? He would mess with the openers. I'd be stacking the door, right? I'd be winding springs and all that. That's not a good thing. That's not a good thing, because I was never really paying attention to him. I never did it, and I asked questions. And then we hit the 2006, crash, basically. And he had to go back to a job. I had to run the business. We had $10,000 in debt. You know what I mean? That we were because a customer was not going to pay us, and he was going to jail. And so I had to do everything. I mean, I did everything, man. I mean, you think about those people crawling through the desert. That's what I was doing. I mean, every phone call, every nickel you could make. I mean, you did not miss a phone call. Well, thank you. You didn't have to do that. I appreciate the $2. You really didn't have. Like I said, I do pretty okay now. Like I said, I don't have to pick up pop cans, not yet. But we might be getting there. The economy seems pretty. It's kind of shady out there, isn't it? I don't know. You guys let me know. What do you guys think? You think the economy's doing good? You think the economy, everything's still inflated? You think things are gonna keep, are gonna go down in price? I don't want to say keep, because I don't think they're going. I think they kind of stopped. But it's expensive. It's expensive. Everything's expensive. All right, let's go. Let's check this out. Just a question I came up with. Well, come up with some more. That's what we do the lives for. I'm here I'm here to help any way I can. I really enjoy it. I'm glad you guys are here. Thank you for being here. And like I said, if there's anything I can help. Otherwise, normally we got a good group of guys that float around in here. Tonight seems pretty quiet on them, but that's okay. That's okay. They got stuff, man. They got families, and they all got kinds of stuff they got to do, and they got Mondays. They got the Monday blues, man. The Monday blues are coming, right? Or what I always call the Mondays sometimes was the brown bottle flu for some people. They didn't show up on Monday. Oh, they got the brown bottle flu. Gotta watch that brown bottle flu. It will get you. And you can always use a screw gun for these too. It goes a little faster. Got the right ones, but I like Verso. It's just slow and ready. It works for us. Rich B's in the house, I see. Guess like learning to swim. Got to throw it, into the water. Yeah. I think I was just explaining to my, daughter. I said, they do volleyball stuff and that. And I said, you can't read, you might be able to learn a few tricks and that from the book, but I said, you got to do it. I said, you know how it is. I said, you practice and practice. And I said, you just got to do it. It's like, right, you fall down, you got to get back up. You learn, you short stuff out. I've done it. Yep, just got to keep working hard and think smart. That's right. What it is, try to work smarter, not harder. We just always try to, Rich B knows that. He knows how to use leverage and stuff like that. It's just, you get it with wisdom, with age, it seems like. What's Joe got here? Joe says, I'm starting to freak out. He says, I got a package from work laying me. I'm getting paid till March, then no more salary. Whoa. But till March? That's a long ways. I can't believe they go that far. Joe, I can't remember. Whereabouts? Do you mind saying what state? And do you have anything? What do you kind of do? What kind of general, is it like automotive? Is it a factory? I don't talk to you enough, Joe. You got to come around a little more. I don't recall. I apologize. That's all good. I'm gonna shut her off just so she don't do no funny things while I'm flipping her Ruski here. Let's flip her Ruski. Like this, since she's not hanging. And that cover, is that cover gonna be okay? Don't need to break it, but I guess I probably got it. It's an E. Oh yeah, that feels good. Oh yeah. I miss you. Come back. Oh. Well, the gear looks greased up good. Nothing that looks super crazy with the old RPM sensor, but I don't know. Might have to see about ordering one. I don't know if the RPM sensors just have glitches. Never going down. Genie is out of. Never going down. That genie's out of the bottle. Oh man. What's this say? I'm looking at something with garage doors. I think I need to get in also. Well, like I said, if you ever got some jobs or something, you can. You got my number, Joe? I know I got your email. I can always send you my number. But ever get into a pickle, like cousin Evan had a little something today, and gave him some scenarios. You know, I was like, these are could be potential things to look for. You know, if the cables come off. I mean, kind of a good little pointer, right? Maybe Rich B could throw something in here too. Throw this off here. I don't know why. It doesn't seem to happen anymore to me, but I don't know. Now this isn't. These springs are goofy because, like I said, they're wound backwards, and then they're outside hookups, so they're hooked up on the outside, and the cables run up there. So that's going to be goofy for most people. But your normal garage door, right? I can't tell you how important it is that once you wind your spring, you get the door up. When the door is up, wherever you like it with the opener and stuff like that, make sure you check cables. I can't tell you how many times I never checked my cables. I just did it actually. I don't think I checked the cable. I checked the wind on the springs because Mr. did it, and so he's a little bit maybe on the green a little bit. So like one spring, luckily they got the line. That's why I love having a line. If you don't have lines on your spring, put a line on your spring. See how you can see my lines? Boom, 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 boom. I can tell you that's wound. But when the door is up, I can literally look above in the jam, right when the door is up, and I can go, I can see one spring has more turns than the other. Sometimes the door's a little, so I always tell them like, hey, when there's two springs, I'm always like, put 3 turns on that spring. You know what I mean? That's what I would do. Let's start with that, and then we'll test the door from there. But what I'm getting at is those cables got slack in them. You got to figure. I think most of the majority comes from your track. You know, if your track's up an inch or 2 inches on, versus the other side, it's going to cause your cables to run funny. So that's why it's really important. You level your door. You're measuring your track. I've used the ceiling. I've used ceiling before. I've used headers before to measure down for my track if I just need something. I use a lathe personally now because I'm just lazy. I don't like measuring. I don't like thinking. So I do that, but I can't tell you how many I had callbacks. Hey, the door went crooked. Oh my gosh. And it's because the cable's falling off. So sometimes a little slack's okay. You got to kind of wiggle it. You learn it over the years that you know enough that it's not going to fall off. But if it's easy to wiggle, it pops off. Yeah. You got to do something, and it's not that easy. Typically, you would think, right? You just go, oh, I'm just gonna tighten it up. Well, you can't do that. It doesn't work so good that way because the door's gonna go crooked on you. So it's I don't want to make a simulator. What I want to do is put like some thread rod on there, and then make it so you can actually make it go crooked. And I think that'd be pretty cool. Be a good learning, even for myself. So that's the only thing I think. Or there is other variables in there. Brackets could be off. If you don't put your bottom brackets, your cable. I don't know how much the cable. I mean, a little bit, but there's some variables. But the big thing is you want to check things before you leave. That's what's important, because that's no good. That's called a no good operator. So this opener's not going to fail, is it? And so, Rich, I got to know, man. Well, I'll go through these real quick. See here. Canada. Okay. IT. Oh, so much headache. Oh, there is things that are very, sometimes in life, I've hit that many times where it's like, I go, I just rather dig a hole. Like, I'd rather just dig a hole. I'd rather cut a tree. Then sometimes the mental can be some really, people don't see that. You know what I mean? When I sat in that office a lot, people come in, it's, what'd you do all day? Sit in the air conditioning? It's like, come here, I'll trade you. I don't know if it's an old style. I'm going to pull it out, I think, Rich. I'm going to pull it out, and I think it just needs to be replaced. I don't know if there's a way to test it. That's not really up my alley. I never did. Once they had kind of glitches, I thought maybe it's either the board. What's this got? It's got a red button. Probably can't even get the red button anymore. I thought one of them they phased out. But I'm assuming the way it was, I remember it would travel, and I got a video of it somewhere, but it would travel and it would like stop. I forget if it wasn't like a retract. It wasn't full retract because it was like it just glitch out, you know, like it like, and then of course when I was there it was working fine. I turned up the forces are basically at 3/4, so, and it was a real light door, 9x7 door, ran decent. So I'm pretty sure it's an RPM, but she already had one there, and it was a female, and I could tell she was just agitated, like she was just like kind of like doing that, like look at me. I got a new one here, right here in the box. Like, can we just, like, I'm sick of this thing messing up. And I think we were going towards winter, or we were just coming out, one of two, and she just, you know, she just wanted to work. Oh yeah, cousin Evan, he's doing good. He is doing good. I think I see him right here. No, that's what I'm saying. Like, I think Evan's doing pretty good. Like, he's really been cooking, man. He's been doing a lot of. He's staying pretty busy. It's not like he's got only 1 or 2 a month. I mean, he's plowing through these jobs. Let's. He had to do a callback today, Joe. I think I forgot to make sure the set screws overkill. The cables dumped off after a few months. I mean, the only thing you could do, right, is either put marks on them just to double check yourself. I'm really surprised that I have not seen anybody. I feel like this is right up Rich B's alley. I see we got 11 likes too. Thank you guys for hitting the like button. I'm surprised we're not. I mean, I'm assuming they make a small torque wrench because, you know, I use the ratchet. And the ratchet, you can really crank them down. And I'll watch Caleb, right? Mr. Caleb in the corner of my eye sometimes, and I see him, and I can tell him, like, he was doing it on some drums. And, you know, little truck don't have another set of drums, and we were taking out a LiftMaster. So I'm like, easy on those drums, man. Like, I'm like, you know, you crack them, we're done. I mean, we were at the long distance loser. And so, you know, Andy's smashing you know how it is. You smash that hollow shaft. It's a nightmare for the next guy. And I've been trying to express to him because I know it's easy. I've seen a lot of guys do it. And I've done it a few times myself. But like when you're doing your backhang bolts, the 5/16, your impact is really strong, right? So you have a 1/2 inch, right? And you're just hitting it, right? And sometimes you can hit it so hard, you'll mess up the threads. Well, I've had it before where I've had to make a few adjustments, and now guess what won't come off? The nut won't come off. And now you're just, and it never fails. It's a hot summer day. You know, you got to get down, you got to get a Sawzall, you got to vibrate stuff. You know, you're vibrating the trusses, and now something comes falling out, which actually at that long distance loser, Mr. Caleb had a pipe literally come out of the ceiling, slide out somehow. He wasn't even, he was cutting on the ground on a ladder. And all of a sudden I'm over, do my own little thing, right? And I was saying, boom, 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 you know, like a hollow plastic. I'm like, what the heck kind of noise is that? You know, I look over and I'm like, what are you doing? You know, he's like, I thought he knocked it off. He goes, he's like looking like, I think it kind of caught the back, towards the back, lower back butt, you know, somewhere in there. And it just kind of hit the ground. And I'm like, another one. I'm like, dude, push that thing up. I was like, that thing's ready to come down now too. So you just, you know, one thing leads to another. Joe, when you upsell something, when you're there, do like car mechanics fix something, break something else. I mean, I don't, you know, there's only so much room, you know, that you can do with kind of, but you can when you're initially there. I mean, if you got notes too, like that'd be a great, like if you, let's say you didn't have weather seal, now you're going back, you know, and you're like, hey, by the way, I'm here. You know, I know this is covered, but I seen your bottom seal was bad. You know, do you want me to change? You add another 10, 20 bucks or something, you know, instead of a service call, but you add on top of the rubber or something, you know, maybe 40 bucks, whatever, you know what I mean? And he's like, yeah, well, how much? You know, 65, 85. Yeah, let's just get that taken care of. So you can make at least $1 to cover maybe your fuel. But I think that's why it's so important. You got to really, hey, I that long distance loser, you know, we were monkeying around. I had cooked me, and she was counting money with a customer, and I said, hey, let's go. I said, like, let's just double check. We're, you know, the clock's ticking. We got a few minutes. We're still looking at each other. I said, let's double check this door. you know, and sure enough, there was two lag because I was making an adjustment. There was a lag and there was one bolt. I don't remember where that bolt was, but they were loose. I think it was on the track. And I'm like, man, even a seasoned vet, you know what I mean? Stuff. And I was like, this is not a job that you want to come back to because of something silly. The, you know, door went crooked and it caught a track bolt. You know, so that's why I always saw it with myself and with employees. I always thought about carrying a pen. You know what I mean? I don't know if you could just do an infrared so you didn't see it, but even just a white pen paint marker, and you dab all the screws, just like when I used to work in a factory, right? We had a mark, and then we had an initial of paper. But you would mark all your stuff, and that way, even with an employee or whoever, you could go back, and you're like, well, how did this happen? Well, obviously they didn't mark it, or they did mark it, and they didn't do a job. Because that's why I also like to oil the door. You know, I've noticed, you know, for one, I think they makes it run a little smoother after you're all done, oil the door. But it also makes me concentrate. Like, you ever noticed, at least it works with me sometimes, like when you're looking for something, right, you're like, God, darn it, I lost it. You get a flashlight, right, and you hold the flashlight and you're looking right where the flashlight's always, like you're laser focused now. But like if you don't have a flashlight, you're just kind of, especially there's all kinds of stuff, you're just all over the place. So I think, you know, like if you, even like with like, let's say, you know, cousin Evan, you know, I really never did this, but I'm not saying it'd be a good thing. But if you put a mark on the drum, you know, it's just a way to idiot proof. You know what I mean? Because then you at least go back and go, oh, dang, man, the drum slipped, or nope, that's not what happened. The cable came off is what I'm predicting. You know, there's all these, when you're in the garage door stuff, you know, you're always playing detective. You know, that's how I was always like, how did this happen? You're looking for marks, clues, you know, like, is there stuff stuffed in the corner? Because customers are known, they'll yank the stuff out and go, I don't know what happened. You know, because they know if they tell you, you're going to be like, well, that's not my fault, you know. Evans guy says it was a long distance loser. Joe, although I might be out there again, I think the 3265 LiftMaster is on its way out. Couldn't really confirm, but it seemed like the limits were to fail. This is a good time right here. This is perfect timing. I'm glad cousin Evan's here to say that. So one thing that was a really common problem on these openers. You can look right here at these limits. Right, here's one. You can really see it, right? That little limit there. Right, and it goes here. You can't even see it. You'll never see it. You'll never see that it looks like there's any kind of corrosion or anything, right? Because I think they're made out of stainless steel. But what you do, I've used my screwdriver before. I've used whatever, right? And I just sit there. I normally like to use a knife. I use my razor knife, and I'll scratch this surface. Let me go over here. This might be easier if I turn the camera. Maybe if I turn the camera, I can see what the heck I'm doing. There you go. But I also scratch this surface right here. Anytime, right? I do this surface, and I do the same over here. This one's already contacting, right? But these, I can never understand. I've done it in a pinch too. I've wiggled them before, just wiggle them back and forth, but I'm not a big fan of that. Let's see if I can get this thing to focus. Focus. My old Samsung would focus. This thing won't. But you scrape those two contacts off, one this way, one up down like you're flossing your teeth. You know what I mean? But anytime, that was very common with these, that if you mess with those limits, right, after this thing's been running, it's like it gets a memory. It's like this gets a memory. I had so many times that this thing would buck, right? It gets to the end of the door or whatever, it bucked, the rail would be bucking on me. And then, you know, it's one of those things you come back and what in the heck is going on here? You know, and you just turn it just a fuzz, right? And then now it's not enough. Now it's not enough. You're like, God darn it. You're like, what is going on, man? Back and forth. Save yourself a call back and the time. Take the damn cover off and clean this. I know it's a pain in the butt. It really is. But it's these contacts. I mean, I almost did it. If I had a long distance loser or something, I just did it anyways. I was like, dude, I'm not screwing with this. This thing is not going to get me, because sometimes it won't even happen right away. All of a sudden they'd call back, you know, a couple days later, and they're like, hey man, the door's not closing all the way. And I'm like, God darn it. I know what the heck the problem is. It's this contact. It's because that's why sometimes I'm kind of weird, but sometimes I don't even mess with these. I'll try to mess with a J arm before I mess with these limits. I just know it's like that Stanley's, right? Once you touch a Stanley, it's like, it could be a good day or it could be but these contactors in here get like you can't ever see it. You'll never see it. But I always take a razor blade, I scrape them, scrape. I scrape up and down just on the face of it. And I've never seen corrosion, but there's some kind of film on them, and it will make that connection not work. It's done it so many times. It's very common. I'm so used to it on these. But then the other thing, which I had for you, Evan, was what I was getting at is I thought maybe this plastic thing, because that chain was so long, it looked like, I don't know how tall that door was, 10 foot, but there's a plastic piece here, and I thought it sounded like that chain was rattling on the plastic piece anymore on that trolley. But this is kind of where, you know, I was thinking about that opener being a longer door, and I'm telling you, Uncle Man, I know I only got a couple lovers out there, the genies. When they get to be, you know, like this right here, like, this ain't nothing. I mean, you know, you can go, they got you can go up to 8-footers in this, you know, but they're kind of noisy. I mean, unless you put in one of these, do we still have them? Right here. You know, unless you kind of put one of these spacers, these plastic spacers in, it kind of keeps the chain, because I've had these rails sometimes, they get a little bow to them right from the get-go. I don't know, from shipping or from the railroad company when they melt these things down, because these used to be railroad ties. That's a railroad, actually the railroad. They melt them down and they make rails. That's why they're so hard. Anyways, you put a spacer in there, it quiets them up pretty good, but especially on the bigger doors, they actually put a sprocket, right? The old ATS, they used to put a sprocket on there to help widen that chain out. But I'm just telling you, like I said, I love the Genie screwdriver for those situations. When you got something that's 10 foot or more, 12 foot, I think you can go up to 14, I think. But you got to screw, man. And screw doesn't sag. It doesn't get that weird, like it doesn't normally have that weird gallop like a belt will, like where you see the belt, like, you know, I'm sure we've all been there, right? You watch the belt kind of drape out of the channel or out of the sea. It's like, the screw just powers right through it. You got speed. You can do medium, fast, or you can do slow, medium, or fast. So you got options, and you're just not dealing with that chain. I think you were dealing with a chain issue, but what I was trying to explain is what you got to be careful of is that anytime you have a sagging chain on an older opener like this, you got to be really careful. I'm going to show you. We'll see what this one looks like. Let's flip it over. No cover. It ain't gonna be pretty, but we'll make it happen. These are good openers, though. I can't match that. You gonna sit nice, not break nothing, please, and thank you. All right, let's take a look at this. Let's get this working. So, the condition of this one, right? I'd be looking right here. I know my camera's really bumming me out. Can you focus this close? No. But I'd be looking at the condition right there. If you see a lot of chocolate or chalky like powder, and then you got to look at the sprocket, right? If this sprocket's got any kind of tip to it, don't tighten that damn chain up. All it'll do is this chain will pop off, because the more you tighten it, more it's pressure on it, and this thing's already compromised. You know what I mean? Like, this one looks pretty good. Like, I can see a little bit of debris on the top there. But I'm not seeing nothing that looks like where I'd say. And the gear's still looking pretty nice and greased, so it might have been changed out at one time. And I don't see nothing that looks real devastating. I normally spray these too when I'm doing my preventative maintenance on them. But, like, you know, if you tighten that chain up, and plus you can look at the tensioner too. The tensioner tells you sometimes too. Like this one, damn, this one's quite a bit. Like, that's quite a bit. Like, this thing's like, what is, like, something almost like that much adjustment there. You know, that might have been me when I was there last time. See, you can see little witness marks. See how it's clean right there? Like, I might have done that. And this chain is pretty, something just does not look quite healthy. I don't know what it is, but something just looks like it's off to me with that. That's a little bit on the excessive. But if you were to, if you were starting to get back in here, I'd say, something's going on, man. You got problems. Maybe that gear is not as good shape as I thought, but I don't think so. Let me flip it back around and check it out. But that's a very common problem with these. So, like if I had to change that one for Cousin Evan, I'd do a screw drive all day. You don't have to worry about, it's all encapsulated. It's got a nice solid rail for the most part. You got speed. You can make the door go slow. You can make it go fast. Nah, it don't look bad in there. It just must be something. It don't look bad. It sounds like the siren stopped kind of close. Let's go look. See if we see any flashers. Got the boogeyman running around out here. Nothing. Thought maybe we had something pretty cool. All right, let's check out some of these comments. Oh, it's starting to fail. There was a time where 1 or 2 a month was normal for me for a while. Because Evan's got. I got a better socket assembly for set screws. Should work better from now on. Sweet. Yep. So, I always carried, I think I always carried 2 3/8 wrenches, open wrenches you can do stuff with. I always carried 2 7/16, with the ratchet, straight ratchet for me. I actually got to get some new ones because mine are getting they're old. They're old. Rich B's got check on the limit for broken wires, which actually I'm going to check this one because that is very true. I didn't see it a lot, but I have seen it. Run small file across contact points. I never had a small file, but if you carry a Leatherman that's got a file in it, which I'm telling you, I think, does anybody else carry a Leatherman on them? Put a number 4. Put a number 4 in the comments if you carry Leatherman. I'm telling you what, Leatherman's the game changer. I can't tell you how many times a Leatherman, the thing goes on your hip, right? It's got the pliers and stuff, and it's like the Swiss Army knife that your grandpa had. How many times it saved me from going down on a ladder, up and down out of a ladder. I need a 1/2 inch, watch this. Got a Leatherman, use the gun. Used it for jumping wires, doing contacts, doing setting limits and stuff on the openers. So many things. It just seemed like it would only do it once in a while. I remember the first time went out there was decrease the open limit. Today it went past. Yep. Evan, that sounds like exactly the symptoms of those contactors. I'm telling you, like I said, anytime these old girls and you twist it, it's like, especially if it's a long distance, if it's acting up right or it's acting like it should right away, no problem. But if it starts acting goofy, you normally learn how far you can turn and roughly how far it should go. I clean those things right away. I used to just do it. I would just do it when I was there. I was like, screw it. I don't know if it needs it or don't, but I'm doing it. You know what I mean? Like if I got to adjust limits, I'm doing it because that sounds exactly, it's hit and miss. It always seems like, I guess I have had to do it on the up limit too, because I've had them into so like another thing, for like Cousin Evan or all you guys, right? Like some guys do it different. So, you're still sorry about my ugly face. So if you ever get this thing, that trolley, this trolley right here, which these are pretty sweet trolleys. Metal, man, they work. They are nice. But if you ever get it so it smashes into this bolt, right, that happens quite a bit because the limits need to be cleaned, or there could be a broken wire or whatever. This is just the antenna for the remotes. But so it jams up on you, right? Son of a biscuit. What do you do? Well, I used to freak out. But that's what I'm saying. You already clean those limits. I normally left the covers off. I'd always leave the covers off, and I just say here this when the door is going up and down. Just make my adjustments right there. I can watch everything run. I'm not putting the cover on until everything's set. But there's a little stub sticking out of that motor. I take a pair of vice grips and I actually turn that motor, watch my gears, and I actually watch my chain and my pulley or my trolley back off. So then I'm good. But that's why I leave it open, because if it happens again, but normally it doesn't happen again, because then I know it's these screwing up. So I clean these, and boom, you're good to go. Like I said, I've never seen a film on them though. Like I said, it's invisible. It's like fog. I don't know how to explain it, but it's like they get some little film on them. I've never could quite see it, but it gets there, and you just scrape down I've just scraped the sides with my razor blade. I scrape the face of that a little bit. That's why I also carry a razor blade, or you can do it with a knife too, if that's all you got. Or you can use a file, like I said. I didn't know if the file was a little too abrasive to it. I don't think it is. Making, scratches on it because it's a smooth surface. So I use my knife, and I got away with it. It worked always good, but that's also why I didn't put the cover. I don't ever put the cover back on. I just let it run. Everything's running good. I run it a few times. Plus I let it feels like it kind of air out a little bit. So the motor, because you will overheat these. If it's a hot summer day, I don't know how many, but you start hitting 10, 15, 20 cycles on her, and want this. That's why what was nice with these too is you didn't have to go through all those programmings. I don't know if you can overheat the new ones, but these ones, I'd bring it up a couple feet, stop it, hit the button, get a remote, have a buddy push the button. I wouldn't run it. I used to run it the full travel, right? Go up all the way, go down all the way. Okay, it needs more down. Go up all the way. No, don't do that, especially on a hot summer day, or any day, really. It's just more wear and tear. And you're just trying to get your down limit, so just bring it up a couple feet. It's off that limit, that metal limit in there. It's good. Make your adjustment, bring it back down. So just something to think about, because I've locked them up before, and it ain't fun sitting around 15, 20 minutes or taking the cover off, and you're, oh my gosh, I gotta go to the next service call. Oh my gosh, I gotta go to the doctor's. Oh my gosh, I got a dinner with my wife tonight. Come on, baby. It's not fun. What have we got here? It says, was hitting the bolt. The door was going past. Oh, it was going past the header. Okay, it wasn't hitting the bolt. Okay. On the side, I use snug and give them a good half a turn. I'm just surprised we don't have like little torque wrenches for them. I'm surprised. Somebody out there's probably like a digital one or something. That way you could just, you know what I mean? It's kind of like when Rusty was saying, like, he's like the door chart, right? Tells you how many hours for a door. That was the ebook years ago. And I'm like, why don't we have a torque setting for that? You know what I mean? Like, so, for new guys and stuff, you're training them to get them the feel of it, Drum. Spring replacements. Oh, you do on the drum, huh? But not the on the drum. You said? Did you say on the drum, but not on the spring or anything? Drum when I do the springs. Oh, about the springs. I wonder if you do the springs. Had the metal. Okay, contact break off because it was limit where it was broke. There's the. Am I just hearing this? What's going on here? Let's go back here. Let's take a look. I hear sirens again. That shuts off. What's going on around here? They're playing games with me. Must be turning them off to go down the resies. I don't know. Losing my mind. Had metal contact. Let's say that was. That one has old RPM and they are easy to change out. Well, that's good. I need easy. It's pretty easy. I think the door might have been 12 foot because try to have a pitch on them, huh? Right back up for a second. What's up, Kevin? It says clean contacts and a pinch, but preference is to change limit assembly. They're covered off. Not much more effort to replace. That's probably not a bad idea. I don't think I've ever changed one. Normally, if I get to that, boy, but that's not a bad idea. Yeah, especially right there. Kevin said it right there, man. Especially if it's long distance. Heck yeah. I'd be throwing whatever, baby. You got to throw everything at it. Sorry, customer. You got to pay. I don't have that big inventory. I should pull out older owners. Yeah, I get it. We're kind of in a throwaway too. You know what I mean? It's kind of like, this one wasn't a long distance loser. Oh, we got 14 likes. Thank you guys for hitting the like button. But I went back the second time. She already had, the first time I was there, she's like, there's an opener if you want. And I'm like, yeah, but man, these are really good openers. So, her photo eyes seemed to be questionable. And so I was like, let's just listen, you just let me know. I was like, you just let me know. If it has problems, I have no problem. We'll change it out. I was trying to basically be like, I'm not trying to take the easy route here, but I really believe this is a lot better than what you got. She had a box store Chamberlain, and it was still working. You know what I mean? So it was just kind of and I thought, hey, that one's got a warranty. This, I could change the RPM sensor, and this could go back out in the field, and it might be a circuit board. And then how much are we into this thing? You know what I mean? But this one, I think, is going to find a special home. I'm going to find a special home for this one. It's going to be not a long distance loser. And if it has an issue, I'll just nurture it for him because it's just in good shape. You know what I mean? It's just a good opener. It hasn't made me mad yet. Just say that. Let's look at a lean of the sprocket. Yeah. Yep. It's pretty much, you should always be, when you're oiling, you oil the chain, the rail, that sprocket. That's a very common problem. The 10-foot. What was it? Wasn't Rich talking about Home Depot had the better, was it the better rails? I can't quite remember. You know what I mean? If you got, I think, didn't you say, Evan? Didn't you say the lumberyard? Didn't you say the lumberyard deals with was it the Steelcraft and Wayne Dalton? Now, if they deal with Wayne Dalton, they should be able, if they're getting stuff from Wayne Dalton, they should be able to get Genies. They should. But I don't know, man. It's a little bit of a learning curve, but I still can't explain it. Like I said, there's more, it seems like there's more Chevy guys than there is Ford guys. So Ford being kind of the genie. I shouldn't say it. Papa Tony might be this. But anyways, I'm just saying there's a more of a lean on the LiftMaster. And like I said, these old ones, these, I loved them. And but the newer ones, I just can't. Now they're changing it again. But the screw drive, like I said, I've been thinking about it, and I thought, man, if I'm just selling openers, I think I'd just do everything screw drive. I don't know when a screw drive really doesn't fit the bill. They're semi-quiet, unless somebody really stealth, they got a bedroom up above and a baby's room or something. All right, probably do a belt drive. But I don't know. I like the way they stop. I like that they're, the belts. Even when I think Papa Tony was talking about Page, they tighten up the belt. the belt was too tight and it made the opener not run. They couldn't set limits or something like that. Now that, I think, what are you guys talking about? Some of the, you can't do nothing. The photo eyes aren't hooked up with the LiftMaster. There's just too many quirks, I feel like, you know what I mean? And like, I'm not praising Genie, because Genie has issues once in a while too, you know, like you can get a bad, you know, if it was probably me, the rails will be fine if you get a solid rail. But if you get 2 head units and then get one with a 7-foot, get one with a 10-foot or whatever it is, 12-foot, I'd probably do that just to be safe, because depending on how long it takes to get them in. But I think I would carry all Genies. I would just carry Genie screwdriver. I'd maybe have a belt drive Chamberlain LiftMaster. You know, if somebody wanted to be a little more like Home Link or something, or I don't know. Evan, do you keep LiftMaster gear kit with you? He says, oh, Rusty, I just replace. Kevin's got, it's common part to fail if you're looking to stock opener parts. Start with a couple gear kits and a couple limit assemblies. Yep. Rich B's guy says the gear kits are easy money. I don't know on these newer ones. I don't know if it's just an easy swap out. I haven't seen the new gear kits get swapped out and the newer openers like this style. Shoot, heck yeah, that was great money, man. It was, like I said, I never felt bad. I'd clean the limits on them, scrape them. I'd throw the, you know, new gear kit into it. I always did the whole gear kit. Don't just do the plastic, do the whole assembly. And away you go. You know what I mean? You don't have to change. At least I didn't. I got away with it. I was kind of weird, so I was like, I never changed this. As far as I know, LiftMaster, this was a harder plastic, so this, I don't think I've ever seen one that was bad. Now, I tried changing it, and it was a mofo. It was not fun. You got to take the motor. It's just, oh, it was just a nightmare. But this, you just pull this, you know, you pull this pin out, right? This pin, this little gear comes off. It'll come out. Is that broke? Oh, that's grease. Now I got greens. Ew. But I thought I had a crack in it. But you just take out this whole assembly. You know, there's three bolts. You got careful. There's one. Where is that stinker? That's right down there. Right, this one right here will get you. That one down there will get you. You'll catch a wire. It seems like it always is a white wire. This one already looks like it has a nick in it. So you catch that wire and it arcs it out. You know, it'll pop the breaker type thing. But you just change out that whole assembly. Bloop, you just pull this whole assembly right out. Slap a new one in. I would sometimes change these little ones. I don't know why. But then I'd always throw a little grease. I don't know why they never, it seems like for grease these assemblies here. So I always dabbed a little bit. Somebody already, you know, looks like they already greased it, which is good, you know, because those obviously, this piece is running back and forth. So I don't know, fair item to me, but, you know, so I always threw a little dab of greaser on it. But big thing is obviously you gotta grease them. I had a customer I know darn well, it burned up in like 2 days, and he come back and he's like, this one's bad. And I'm like, what? I'm like, and I talked to one of the tech guys and he's like, I've seen that before. And I'm like, how? And he's like, they don't put grease on it. He says, it'll chew that gear right up. And I'm like, no way. So I gave the customer another one free of charge, but he was, you know, he was walking in the door type of thing. Ooh, emery cloth. Chip's guy says put a emery cloth, a kind that plumbers use, comes in a roll. That's a good idea. I always see those guys, and they're doing copper, and I'm always like, I gotta get me some of that. I always forget. I never get none. Just have a 5/16 gear wrench. Oh yeah. One, yep. So you can reach the drill, pre-run screws into it. Yeah, that's always a big. That's why I always like these guys, these universal screwdrivers, because actually this big guy can take this whole, you know, opener apart to some degree. But Rich B's right. You got to have the wrench. A ratchet wrench works really good because there's one in there. You can't really quite reach in there with this, so you got to have a flat. That's why I always carried the flat ratchet wrench. I thought worked the best. I think that's why I always carried. Yeah, they were good just to change out. Elevators is here. Hello. It's not like I do a gear kit. Customer usually just choose to go with new opener. Yeah, I mean, there is a lot of variables. You know what I mean? But it is kind of one of those things that feels like to me, like once you start kind of doing it, you're like, especially when you got kind of service call on top of service call on top of service call. But you you're just like, dude, I can change out a gear kit. My profit's almost better, right? I'm not throwing this thing. I don't got to go through and wires and, do I chop the wires? Do I splice the wires? And, then you got to mess with the wall button. You know how that goes. The wall button, and then the drywall, and I lost a little thing. Oh my gosh, the stapler gun quit working. You can just drop out the gear, put a new gear, bada bing, bada boom. They're pretty nice, like I said. But, once you, but this is a great opportunity for Uncle Dave to come in. Great opportunity. This is where, if you get, what do I always say? If you get pictures, that helps a lot. So if you get pictures and you see an old girl with limits on this, set screws, and you go, wait a minute, and you go, can you get me a few more pictures of that? Or you can see it. Yeah, I probably should bring a gear kit. You know what I mean? Because the common thing it's running, but it's not moving. That's always what they say. It's running, but it's not moving. But that's why it's great if you can get them out there too. And that's why if you could hear it, that's why I always like the clicky noise and stuff like that. Because I could literally on the phone, I could diagnose what was going on. It's running. But I'm like, is the trolley going back and forth? Oh yeah, it is. And I'm like, well, that's obviously the J bar is not. Hey, pull on that cord. You know what I mean? Click, click, click. Light bulbs. It's too low, making it a no-brainer to pick a new opener over repair. Could be. That could be true. What's it say? Dave, the doorman hour chart is right on the money. It is. It works so good. That's why it kind of reminds me of the old IDA. Like I miss the old IDA. The old IDA felt like it was more for the blue collar man. Now it's just, I don't know. I just don't get the spark when when I used to see them, there's always something I was like, oh yeah, it's like, this is really going to teach me something. Like, that's pretty cool. And then now it's kind of like, just feels like it's kind of like, say hi to our new president. I'm like, okay. That's weird, Rusty. I'm happy to make 200 putting an opener, but not charge, not to change a gear kit. Yeah, you're just probably more familiar with it. It's just it takes time, to start building the confidence. And then, like, I know they can be kind of intimidating, right? What if you, like, how did I do it? I think I always run the door kind of down, for one, the door is down and then it's out of your way. But then I always knew my trolley system, right? And I'd go down there, 2 half-inch wrenches, right? I get my chain loose. I pop my chain off. I normally let the chain just kind of drag or sag. Do my stuff, pop the gear out, put a new one in, get the chain back on. But now you're going to have to mess with the limits. So stuff like can be, it just takes time. You know what I mean? If you get an opportunity, and maybe it's close, it's local, it's just, hey, how about we put a gear kit in it? Let me order one, or maybe eventually you get one. I don't know. Are you guys doing a lot of gear kits still? You guys put it in the comment for cousin Evan. Are you still doing a lot of gear kits? I don't see them that often, but I'm not in the field, so it's, and then the new ones, I'm assuming those ones up there will have the gears. These ones from, I think Rich B said they're from Menards. Joe's guy says, Evan, you charge 200 to install an opener. Joe, yes, for labor. If they need angle materials, obviously that's extra. Awesome. Don't tell Dave it's Canada. So US, it's $20. Oh man. I see Rich is sending me some stuff about the Genie screw drive. What's that we got? Yeah. Hey man, 20 bucks. I always say 20 bucks is 20 bucks, man. Like I said, you can sit on the couch as long as it's local. As long as it's local. Oh man, like I said, those long distance losers will just gobble your hiney up unless you're making killer money. And you can go back 2-3 times and you're like, man, I made so much money. You know? That's me, Dave. He says to ask. I haven't installed the Wayne Dalton yet. I've seen it on their website, so you can get the Genies. I'm pretty sure if anywhere you can get Wayne Dalton, you could probably get Genie. You know what I mean? But like I said, if you can get those solid rails, like I know we got a Titter, and that's one piece. I don't know what that one is over there. We got one over there, and it's a piece together rail. But the piece together rails never really bothered me. Except if you lose the clips. When you're putting your screwdriver together, a few clips, you got to slip. Like you put it on, you put the clip in, you slip it over, and that locks it in. And so far we haven't, as far as I know, talking to Cap and everything, nobody's replaced a trolley yet on the new ones. Now the old ones, aluminum, the old school. Wasn't there one sitting right here? Where is it? Right here? I thought I seen one. Maybe not. Oh, let me check inside real quick. It might be right here. I don't know. I remember. I feel like I always see one. So, like the new style is like a plastic. Like the plastic's already built in. Like you don't mess with it, right? Like this is it. Like this is pretty simple. Like this is the new style screwdriver. Like it just is a pin, you know. And yeah, am I a fan that's plastic and all that? Not really. You know what I mean? But so this is what goes on the rail, right? And then it's got like its own assembly. The assembly piece, I never had to replace. Never replaced one of these either yet. This was the old style on the screwdrivers. And a lot of guys probably got bad taste in their mouth over the years. You know, these weren't real common to go. I wasn't always a super fan, like, you know, when you disconnect it. See, this was the aluminum piece that would get chewed up. Like this was the wear item, right? So normally the screw would stay okay, but this was softer metal, and you'd start losing teeth, and then all of a sudden she'd be, you know, it's not going right. So the disconnect was always a little weird to me for some reason, flicking it than a Chamberlain, but these were easy. You know what I mean? They're easy. Take those off, slip her off, slip a new one on, bada bing, bada boom, good to go again. But like I said, the newer style, I don't have the whole inside gut piece. This is the one piece that does go on. Never replaced one yet. Don't know if it's just they haven't been out that long. I mean, I think we've been installing them probably, I think they've been out at least 8-10 years. I think. Maybe somebody knows, put in the comments. But we have not replaced a trolley on the newer screwdrivers. Does it ever hurt to put a little oil or grease on them? The right grease? No, I think that helps. These were notorious too. These were always kind of nasty. That one Genie I had in here, the rails get pretty nasty. But like I said, you know, this was the old style, metal on metal. Seemed like the new ones I think are a plastic on metal. I'm not quite sure. Never tore one apart. Never had to. So that's why I like the screwdrivers. You know, they get the red light of death. You know, if you get put a surge protector on it, possibly. You don't have to. It's not always a guarantee. But I don't know. They just don't have weird ghosts, weird glitches, as far as I know. That's this over here. So I just like them. There's no sagging. There's no chain noise. You don't have to worry about chain adjustment. As far as I know, they're maintenance free. Somebody should put a little grease on it in 5 years, maybe. You know, that's about it. But I don't know any other maintenance on them. They're just, it's to me, the concept is like a dry, you know, this is how you do it. This is how you think of it right here. My uncle that passed away, he was always big, you know, big Harleys and stuff, right? We always had I remember the stages, right? We had chain drive, you know, vroom, vroom. And it was like, the chain drive's always slinging oil everywhere. And it's, you know, and then it's loose and you got to adjust it, right? The Harley. And then it turned into, I remember they came out with the belt. Oh man, the belt was a lot better than the chain. But what started happening, the belt would slip, right? Bigger motor, belt drive, slip, bad. Then they went to a drive shaft. Maybe a deal would leak or something. I don't know. I don't remember hearing much bad with the drive shaft. Maybe added extra weight or something. But the stages. So I guess when I think of a screw drive, I think of a drive shaft, like a car. Remember how like back in the day they showed really, really, really old cars, dumpsters, dump trucks, stuff like that. They had chains that ran from like the transfer case back. We have a drive shaft. So in my mind, I always think about that screw drive transferring power through that assembly as like a drive shaft. I just go, dude, that makes sense. And you're not dealing with hanging, not dealing with belts, because I've seen the belts, you put them too tight, they don't run. You put them too loose, and like the way they tell you adjust them, which I don't like adjusting them that way, and they're, I like it just be, that's what I like about the screwdrivers. I'm telling you, if you've never been doing Genie screwdrivers, you should try a few. I really think you might start. I don't know why. I still can't just tell you, I've never had a problem, or anything. I don't, except red light of death or something, or a big surge takes them out or something, but they don't have weird ghosts in them. I never have weird ghosts. Their photo eyes are always consistent. I feel like their photo eyes are a lot better in the sunlight than the LiftMasters have ever been. I don't know about these new ones, but I've had more problems with these in the sun than I ever had a Genie. I don't remember any Genies ever having problems with sunlight, unless you break the lens. If you break their lens or that little cover, but they sit in the recessed, right? Genie, better give me a hat at the IDA show, god darn it. That's all I got to say. I don't want to break this all apart because somebody's going to freak out then and be like, this thing's open. But if you look, it's like their lens is recessed in there. It's hard to see, but this tunnel, it's just in there, just a fuzz, right? Just a fuzz. That little light is just in there, a fuzz. I don't have any problems. They're ugly. I don't really like them. They're not sexy. They're not, but these, it's like they're protruding, right? They're just so far. It's like they're just out there. It's kind of like a fish. That's what it feels like. It's like a fish. It's like, I'm looking for everything. Sunlight, no problem. I don't know about the newer ones, like I said. I've had problems with the other ones, sunlight. And that sucks because I've been there at a place, I remember it was in, where was that? In Spring Lake, Michigan. And the customer told me, our door's not going down again. I go there probably an hour later, right? I just service calls were busy. I go out there, boom, I hit the button. I'm like, what's wrong with the thing? It's working fine. They come out, they push the button. Oh, I was doing that earlier. And I'm like, finally it dawned on me, like the second service call. I'm like, is it happening? What are you doing? And they're like, well, we go to brunch and then we go to lunch and then we go to, they had like a schedule, they're retired. And I'm like, check it at this time. And sure enough, they called me and said, yep, it's doing it right at this time. And of course they had like a bookshelf right there. I couldn't move the photo eye back. So I think I ended up swapping them. That fixed it. But I'm like, I don't have that problem with the Genies. So little glitches, little things like that. Installing on our website. I think if they have Wayne Dalton, it's through a separate vendor from where the steel car have come from. I don't know. I would definitely ask them. You know what I mean? And I think Rich sent me a few things. Like I said, maybe Home Depot does have some options. Maybe you can order something in. But the fact that they can do 7 foot, they can do 8 foot, they can do 10 foot. I don't know. And I'd like to hear from you guys. Put it in the comments. Like I said, I'm not trying to promote Genie, right? I'm not trying to say, LiftMaster, because you guys have good luck with LiftMaster too, and that's great. You know what I mean? And I think there is certain applications at LiftMaster. Heck, I like Chamberlain's and the box stores. I like the box store Chamberlain's. It's just, like the box stores, when I think about those tubes, You got to watch it. Sometimes you run into those rafters. You know, a genie, if you got a screwdriver, you know, even if you're buying the box store one that's pieced together, doesn't matter. It's a C channel. It's a C channel. It's bulletproof. C channel, see the rafters up here? Slam it up to it, baby. Slam it up as hard as you want, because no matter what, everything's running inside that channel. You got nothing exposed. Slam it up. Slam it up there. You know what I mean? And you just run into it all the time with low headroom situations, with openers. And I like the fact that it's a C. Since it's a C channel, if you carry sticky pads, right? They give you a few, and I'll save them sometimes if I don't use them. I save them. And then if you keep like a little bit of alcohol pads so you can clean off, you can just stick your pad on there. Now, is it going to last probably 10, 20 years or it's still die? Probably not. But it gets you by for right now until the next 5, 10 years, till, you know, whatever, the sticky pad goes bad. But you can run your wires on if you need to, right? You ever have that situation where you get that customer, right? The ceiling like 3 or 4 feet higher, the opener sitting down. Now you're like, it's all beautiful drywalled, everything's finished, and you're like, fudge, what do I do? What do I do? And you're like, what do I do with these ugly wires? You know, and you can just run it right down the rail. Not a problem. Not a problem. You can run it down the rail. But like if you got this, right? If you got this old T-rail, you're screwed. Unless you get the clips. And most of the time those clips are kind of expensive. It's a little rubber clip. I don't think we have any here. We got any clips? I used to carry some. Clips. Clips. Today, about 60 minutes. I don't see them. Not where I used to kind of stash them. But anyways, there were these rubber clips, right, that kind of clip on. You got to get them. They're special from LiftMaster, everything. You know what I mean? And if you're out in Timbuktu, you know, normally you can go to an Ace Hardware. You know, I've even used, like, you could probably even use, if you got the alcohol pad, or in a shirt, right? Even your shirt, rip your shirt off, you got to, right? And you just clean that spot a little bit. You got some Gorilla Tape. You can Gorilla Tape that son of a biscuit down, right? Gorilla Tape, some really good duct tape or something. Sticker on there. You run your wires. Everything's clean. Everybody's happy. You're not draping it. You're not puncturing holes in the drywall. You have to worry about a callback. Customer going, you know, hey man, there's all these scenarios, right? The wife's there. Maybe you explain to the wife, and she's just going, okay, do what you got to do. I don't care. I just want to push a button and just come in. Like, I just want to push a button. And then hubby comes home after work and boop, 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 boop. Hey, you son of a blah, 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 you punch holes, you know, drywall, you better come rip this back out. You know what I mean? Like, stuff like that happens. So the T-rail sucks, you know what I mean, for that. And most time with the T-rail, you could get away with slamming it up to the ceiling for the most part. And then if you go with the tube rail, you're done. You can't run nothing on top of it. You know, you can't run wires on top of it. You can't run it up to the rafters. That tube will clunky. You know what I mean? And then if I've been there, right? It has any flex to it, right? Oh, is it gonna catch? Ooh, it's close. You know, should I adjust the door? Should I the opener? Should I try to bring it down? If I bring it down, it's gonna rub, man. You know, where the genie rails are a little bit thinner than those tubes, and that's why I like them. You know what I mean? They're so universal. I just don't know why more people don't use them. You know what I mean? I just like, if I had one thing, like, you know, it's like if I had to go to war with one thing, I'd probably bring me a genie screwdriver, because the damn things are powerful. They'll tear a door apart. You know what I mean? They're just unstoppable. They are so, and that was always kind of the Achilles heel with them, especially with these units. These ones, you know, I came across so many people, one spring would break. They didn't know, whatever, you know, 2 springs would break. The whole top panel, second panel is caved in. The opener's just, you know, I'm chewing this up. But I'm just sitting there like, damn, that's pretty impressive. They just keep running, man. You put them on big old wood doors, they just eat them up. You know, they'll just do it. I mean, so I like them. There's no weird, you get a door that you did a spring on, and it's not quite right. You know, the vendor sent you something wrong. Hey, I got to use the genie to push through it a little bit. The genie will do it. They're pretty solid. Did I convince you? 'Yet? I'm genies. I'm just joking. Good on screw drives. Lube plate is good. Says I'm lagging. Oh, man. Rich says, I don't believe HD ever had a shaft drive on theirs. I know them from Lowe's at one time. And from what I can tell, it looks like you can order them through Lowe's. You can order them through Home Depot, I think. You can order the screw drives. They don't carry stock, though, which is really kind of a bummer. You know what I mean? So it's kind of one of those things. It's just like, you know, kind of like if you want to be a linear vendor. It was like for us, right? You got to kind of carry it. I mean, hey, that's why, like, hey, if it works good, just to, you know, and they're probably more. You know, you got to order them, they got to ship them in, whatever. It's time, but that's why I'm also. I'd probably get 2, just in case. You get bad out of the box. I can't say I ever had one bad out of the box, but I had one. I know now, a long time ago, we used to get the red light of death, and I remember we installed one. I don't remember if it was a belt chain, but I do remember. And see, I don't know with the screw drives. Maybe they just go to that better version instead of being the 60 volts. They're all 140 volts, or yeah, 140. But I can't remember what that one was. I don't remember a screwdriver. I was too green back then when I was doing the Lowe's ones to ever really pay attention. It was just always kind of like we just did whatever they provided, right? The customer wants Chamberlain, we do Chamberlain. They went low, they went Genie. And for a long time, like I said, we were doing these bad boys. You know what I mean? We were selling these babies like hotcakes, right? We would never even think about a Genie. These were the cat's meow. You know what I mean? No callbacks. You just install it. You walk away. You could set up the force list. Everything's mechanical. You know, the T-rails work pretty good, right? Like I said, you know, you could slam them up to the ceiling. It was just that if you ran into somebody with a really, really nice garage, you know, and you try to run the wires and you don't have that clip, they have to order special. The rubber clip that goes on there to tuck your wires in. Oh boy, you're in trouble. You know what I mean? I don't know any other way how to drape the wires looking. I mean, I've done it before where you staple the crap out of it or put an anchor up there, right? And you just stretch the wires and you tie them off to the back hangs. But, you know, that ain't the best, you know. Thanks, Joe. I don't think we get sectional C channel genies. We get them from Amazon. So here's the thing I do know, right? Let me get a gulp of water here. Like I said, that's why I like the genies, because they're the screw drives. If you get the screw drives, you have to get the C channel. You have to. They don't make them any other way. Let me turn this around. So here's one, right? This is a C channel, right? Here's the mechanism, actually, right here. That one piece would slip into. Here's the notch for it. Do a clicky click. Never replaced one of these. Not yet, anyways. They got little, you know, little spacers in here. Boom, boom, boom. They got your disconnects already in here, right? This is the professional. This is the nice. This is a 10-footer. Right, it's a big boy. The color, I'm never a big fan because I can never tell. Like, I can't tell you what the hell this one is. But what I'm trying is right here is actually how it used to come from the boxers. They have these, see this piece right here actually slips into this piece. And then like those inserts, these would slip out. You don't mess with those. But like, see, this is all flat. So this would be what goes up to the ceiling. This would be connection, this piece, right? You take one, you slips it slips on just like a coupler. Clook. The other piece comes on, clook. And I don't think there's more in here. But see, like this one might be like a 12. You know, it's two pieces and it's 12. But it said this. That's what I'm saying. Like, even it does not matter. They used to come in a box for 7-footers, and you had to do like, I don't remember how many it was, like 2 of these or something like that, 2 or 3. I can't remember these couplers. But that's what I'm saying. No matter what you do with a Genie screw drive, and see, like these ones are C, but these are the professional. But these are going to be. This is a belt. That's a belt one. You know what I mean? I'm not such a fan. They work. There's nothing wrong with them. I just don't see the purpose of those when this one is very close to noise-wise. And I got speed, medium or slow, medium, fast. And I don't have to worry about a belt dragging or anything. This is just, no matter what, you get a screwdriver. If you get a screwdriver, it has to come with C-channel. It has to. There's no ifs, ands, or buts. Now, I know the belt drives at like the box stores, they got, a lot of people do not like the tubes. But if you do with a screwdriver, it absolutely will not come any other, as far as I know, unless somebody's got a picture and can prove me wrong, absolutely will always come with a C-channel. And I love the C-channels. Like I said, they're a little bit, right? They're a little bit thinner than the T-rail, right? So it's a little bit thinner. I can probably get a tape. Let's get a tape here. I don't know if I got tape in the shop. I don't know if I yanked my tape out or not. Tape measure? No. Tape measure going twice? No. Okay. No problem. Probably got one. I got it. Thanks, though. Yeah, so let's take a look. Because I really never, I just know they're thinner. I know it. See, we got a Genie, but this one's what is this one? This one's a belt. This was kind of like a, so that's why it's not a screwdriver. Otherwise it'd be a screwdriver. It was just one we had in the shop laying around. I was like, we're doing it. But it's been running really good since it's been installed. Let's hope I left the tape. I always typically leave a tape because I'm always like, dude, you just never know. You always could use a tape measure. Always. I gotta shut this though because the buggies. Got your old nasty whale bug. They just keep on working. This has even got the silent glide rollers. It's basically that head unit almost, isn't it? What's that one? It works. Boom. Just stops. Right where it's supposed to. All right, let's take a look. That's my mic up. Mic's on. There we go. Come on. Okay, so we're sitting right at about, what are we sitting at there? I can't quite see that stupid chain's in the way. Who put that chain right there? I go like this. I gotta hold you here for a second. It's sitting a darn near about, I'm gonna say right about 1.5 inches. Right about 1.5 inches. Just a fuzz maybe under, but let's say 1.5 inches, right? Let's see what we got over here. Probably 1.25 inches. Maybe 1.25 inches, huh? Do-do-do-do. We could even go on the one piece right there, right? Oh, I'll be darned. Yep, I was right on the 1.25 inches. So there you go. It saves you about 1/4 inch. 1/4 inch. Now, this is probably going to add a little bit. This one's sitting still under. How they do that? That one's still sitting under. I'm telling you, that can save you. That can save you. You don't have to worry about it. It's all encapsulated. Wow. Slam that up to the ceiling. You don't have to worry about no funkiness. I think the only time they can be a problem is that one that just jumped in my brain now was that if you ever had somebody that tunneled, right? You ever tunnel? They took a Sawzall and chopped it out, and then you got that. Well, I mean, you could just widen it out, but make sure you get the customer's blessings on that. That's where you got to be. You got to align. Like you're like, yeah, we're just gonna put up another Chamberlain. Like we're not, like I'm gonna entertain this Genie screwdriver here. Chips, guys. So when changing gear and sprocket, change bushing. If they go through, it's a warning sign. Limits and gears to miss, and eventually door will bounce off floor. Papa Tony changes those gear. I'm gonna make sure I pay attention to them a little more if I ever mess with them. Those brass bushings. I never changed them out. Like I always just kind of slipped them in, but I ain't gonna say I ever like really wiggled them. But I never had a problem. Never had a problem that I know of. I mean, I did have one. I think that was split or something broke one time. Then I popped it out. But yeah, I mean, I definitely can't say don't do it. I think if you forget it, it might not be the end of the world. But it's probably good practice. I mean, everybody's normally got a little spin. Like some guys they swear, you got to change that worm gear. you know how much more extra work that is? You know, and I had a LiftMaster guy actually tell me, he says, there are different materials, you don't have to change it. He says, that's why the gear always strips out on the big one and not that small one. So I always went with that. Now, have I seen one that had some weird funkiness going on? And I was like, yeah, you know what? Like, I think I'm going to chew the gear up. Yeah. You know, then I've done something different. You know, maybe a chunk of metal or something got just caught up or something and it made something screwed up in there. And I was like, yeah, this don't look good. You know, but most time, threw a gear in it, away I go. Do it live. Do it live. You should just fire it up tonight. Let's just do it now. I'll shut mine off here in a few minutes. And, well, I know you got probably work tomorrow. Oh my gosh, Smith, where have you been? What was I thinking? I was thinking about Smith today. I was thinking about, we're going to call you, what is it? Is it Mr. Who was it? Who was it in the Matrix? It was always Mr. Anderson. But that was, I thought his name was Smith. That's what I was thinking. So I don't know what they called him. Was it, what they called him? Remember? The guy with the glasses, right? He'd always go, Mr. Anderson. I thought his name, I thought it was Smith. Why do I think Smith's in that movie? Watch for sure. Hello. How was your Joel? My job was good. Awesome. YouTube, all right. 41, too. Rich has got, he's got HD Harley Davidson. I don't know, man. My uncle, they were big. He's big into the GOs and stuff, man. He had some pretty sweet cars. Like I said, he just all of a sudden one day I think he was only, I don't remember how old he was. I think he was in his late 50s, you know, and just, he's a bigger guy, right? And just heart attack, man. Boom. But he had all the cool stuff. He had like an S10 with a souped up V8 in it. I mean, he was always the guy that showed up at, you know, the parties, you know, like, you know, everybody's standing around drinking beer, right? And it's like, coming down there. It's like, I wonder who that could be and what kind of surprise we have today. Either a motorcycle, GTO, you know, a souped up S10. It seemed like he was always on top of something. So a lot of good fun, What are we at? 11? Well, I think I kind of showed you about as much as I could with these old Chamberlains. I think I'm going to rip the RPM sensor out and I will get a new one on order and swap it out and we'll roll the dice with a customer that's a local customer for this one and we'll go from there. You know what I mean? See how it goes. And hopefully we get a mini split pretty soon. It says it's in shipping. I don't know where that is, but maybe I'm just worried since it's through the old Amazon-y, they just don't drop it off in a parking lot and the boogeyman comes and gets it. But yeah, these were good openers. Like I said, got nothing bad. Like I said, these served me. This made us a lot of money over the years. These were very tried and true, and I still love them. I still wish they were around. I would still been a LiftMaster fanboy if these were around. I'd still be installing these. I would have never looked back. You know what I mean? But I had to find an alternative to the Ghost that that LiftMaster had. You know, with photo eyes just turning off to all these weird little glitches to when they went to their, I call them the wet contacts and all that, right? Like where you can't, like when we were out in the boonies the one time, the guy's like, I'm like, dude, the thing's broke. It was broke right out of the box or something. He's like, the opener won't work. I'm like, bullcrap. Like, I got a doorbell. And I'm like, they won't know. And he's like, it won't work. He's like, I gotta have the circuit board. And I'm like, it never had a circuit board, you know, because they've always had these ones. I thought I seen one sitting here. Yeah, this might be the newer style. Yeah, I'm pretty sure this is the newer style. But these newer LiftMasters, you can't just touch wires together anymore. They got to have the circuit board, right, to run them. And that's kind of a bummer because if you're in a pinch and you're out in the woods, out in the boonies, and you got a doorbell from an old job or whatever, or if you got to run to an Ace Hardware or to a, well, I don't know, maybe a Lowe's, I guess you could grab another one, but you got to buy a whole opener. You know what I mean? So that was always a turnoff for me. I got burned a few times on that because some of those old boys too with the keys, right? And they go, my old key's gonna work, right? And I'm like, no, it's not. I'm like, we can get you a keypad. I don't want a keypad. I'm about ready to croak. I want to use my key on the side of my door that I've been using. I've done it for 20 years, Sonny. And I'm like, oh, we did the wrong opener. So, the joys, the things you learn. Well, Joe, I appreciate it. I really do. I hope you guys learned something. Like I said, I'm gonna get out of here. Got to clean up. Like I said, I'm ready for, I'm ready for a shower. Monday's coming, right? So I hope you guys have a wonderful week. Hope you have a good Monday. Hope you have a good week. I know it's supposed to be a little bit warmer. Hopefully, you don't get burned too bad. And if you got anything, got any questions, Joe, make sure you email me all that good stuff. I always like talking about them. And it's one of those things. Always remember, if I can do it, you can do it. It just takes time. And guess what? You live in a time and nowadays that we got a great community here, and you can accelerate faster than I ever did, because now we got this thing called YouTube University, or we have email, or we have cell phones that we can text and send pictures. Oh my gosh, it's amazing compared to when all I had was service text or tech support. That was it. That's when I started. Support and Barnes & Noble and Business for Dummies. So... All right, guys, over and out. Keep your fingers. Take care. We'll see you on the next one. Have a great night, and bye-bye.